Go. Welcome in, everyone, to the everydayfan.com podcast. My name is Jack Neary. We've got Mr. Paul Casanova and Lamar Fields with us today. On the docket, we're talking Suns, Clippers. We're talking NBA playoffs. We've got Brady in the news. We've got baseball in the news. Everything you can handle. Let's hear it, Paul.
All right. Welcome to the everydayfan.com podcast. Welcome you too. Thank you both for coming again.
Thanks.
How are you?
Thank you.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Like the shirt there, Lamar? What is who is that? Is that Kobe?
Yeah.
Yep, I figured. Look at that. Laker man got to have the Laker gear on, right? Even Laker fans at this time of year when the Lakers are sitting at home, they still got to wear their gear, right?
Yeah, year round.
That's a true fan.
All right, so let's get into a little bit of the NBA playoffs today, guys. This has been a pretty interesting two playoff series, both of them. Let's start with the Suns and the Clippers. The Suns are just rolling, and at first I thought, okay, it's Devin Booker. He's really doing good. And then these last two games where he's had two off games, they still have managed to win those games and look real good in doing so. So talk to me about the Suns, Jack.
Well, basketball, like football, like baseball, we all play it. We all get involved because it's a team sport. Right. It's not we love talking about the Jordans, we love talking about Ken Griffey Jr., our Kobe's. We love all that stuff, but it's a team sport, right? Kobe needed Shaq just as much as he needed, Derek Fisher to distribute everything, right? Mm-hmm. The Suns are the best team in basketball. Chris Paul came in there and bonded everyone. Right. When he wasn't there, when they won that game, they were FaceTiming with him afterwards. Just think of your greatest triumph in life. That's what I want you to do. Think of your greatest and the person you call.
And doesn't it show by the way that he's out for two games and they play the way they still did? Then Booker is having a couple of off games and they still play the way they do. I mean, you're right. They look like a complete team. They
don't blame, right? Their phone call after their greatest triumph was to their leader, Chris Paul, right? That's what, in team sports, sometimes the leader falls, right? If you pick guys to go to war with, because that's what sports really is, right? It's you picking a country, you picking a side. That's really what the sport is about. And sometimes leaders fall, but guess what? They FaceTimed with them afterwards. They were happy to tell Chris Paul. And the Suns are going to, that's where my money is tonight, -5.5, -6. I've got the Suns taking out the Clippers. And I'm going to tell you why. It's not that the Clippers don't have equal talent. It's that they don't have that equal bond. They don't, right? Kawhi Leonard's kind of quiet, and Paul George is kind of about himself. We sometimes remember. We remember the OKC Paul George with Westbrook. We remember this Paul George, but we forget the Paul George that played in Indiana. Right. When after LeBron sent him packing, he asked him to mentor him how to beat him. That's weak. It's weak. No, Larry Bird talked about trading him before Paul George went to Twitter and the news.
Yeah, he's always had some questions about that. Lamar, what do you think about the Suns? And tell me, what do you think Booker's nose has that affected his play at all?
I have a little bit. That don't know game 3. I know that game was a game 3. That mask was bothering him. You can tell. Yeah, he came back to game 4.
By the way, he chucked it, right? He just gets rid of it like that. Has it been mostly that? Is it that or is it that defense? Because they've
been hounding him a lot. And that's been a bit. They've been hounding him a lot, but he needs to learn how to. When you got the smaller guy on, you got to learn how to use your size to your advantage.
But that goes back to what Jack said too, though. Yeah. The fact that they could do that and the Suns still keep rolling the way they do, it's incredible. And you know what? They play that kind of sneaky defense where you look at them, you don't think that they're playing good defense, but then you look over and like the Clippers have 60 points in the third quarter, and you're like, oh man, there's some defense being played,
Well, in game 4. Game 4 was weird because both them teams looked like they didn't want to win at the end of the game.
Yeah, big stretch without hitting any buckets, both of them.
Yeah.
It's flat out recognition too. So the thing that the Suns do better than the Clippers, it's very obvious. Look at Zubac is a good player. Is he a great player? No.
I like him though.
I like him too. Okay.
He's out tonight.
Is DeAndre? That's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
The line should jump even further for you guys watching. The line should probably be closer to 6.5, 7 if Zubac is out. But Zubac has the ability, maybe not the ceiling, but he has the ability of, let's call it not maybe DeAndre Ayton because he does more things, but certainly an Enes Kanter. Okay, and the Clippers need to feed him the ball early. Get him his 12 points in the first half. If you guys are so good, Reggie Jackson and Paul George, as you think you are, you'll get your buckets whenever. But that's a 12 points that you're not going to be able to find with 5 minutes left to go in the game. And that's a big – Chris Paul gets DeAndre Ayton involved immediately.
Yes, he does. Hey, Lamar, is Ayton, has he taken that next step? Is he? Can we call him a star?
He's playing like one, but I want to see what he start with the beginning of next year and what next year sound like. Because sometimes it carry over and sometimes it don't. But with Chris Paul there, like you said, after the game a couple nights ago, he said Chris Paul's the best thing that happened in his career because he's gonna get the ball to him and spots he want to know it. And it's like that conversation we had last week about the Clippers playing small. Was able to play small against Gobert because Gobert don't do nothing on offense. They try to do that against Ayton, but Ayton can score. So that's why you got that Zubac in the game. So
yeah. What do you think about Ayton?
So I don't think he's a star. And this is why I don't think he's a star. Burns Zubac. Zubac is nice, right?
Yeah.
But let's talk about stars. Let's talk about star centers, right? Let's talk about one of your favorites. Let's talk about Jokic. Jokic, absolutely. Zubac is nice. He's a nice player. You don't stop a star. You don't stop Embiid. You don't stop an Olajuwon. You don't stop a Shaq. You don't stop players like that. Okay, but we'll call what Ayton has is rising confidence. Not rising star, rising confidence. So he's starting to get the confidence that could, right? That seed's planted to now he thinks he's sitting there going, hey, you know what? I can make it in this league. Develop a couple moves in the offseason. Not maybe an all-star appearance next year, but maybe the year after that. As long as his confidence, he gets himself a move or two, because I'll tell you what, this could backslide to Dwight Howard real quick.
Yeah.
Do they get a big time free agent to come to Phoenix now after all this run and stuff? I'm gonna ask that same question about Atlanta later, just so you know. But
depends on how much money Phoenix got. Depends on how much money Phoenix got under the cap. With Chris Paul on the hook for what, $44 million if he opt in.
But is Phoenix a place you want to go now? Is that a spot?
Yeah, they're right on the team on the rise. If people are going to go there, just got to figure out the money situation, because I think Ayton's going to be due for some money too. Here.
Oh yeah.
So
they're
going
to have to pay him. What's that?
Do they need a star? I think they could do this again.
For sure. I mean, if they pulled it off this time, and let's transition that into the next one, because I really want to talk about Atlanta too, because they both go the same way. Atlanta, you didn't expect them to get as far as they did, and everybody said they had that nice team, and then look at the way they just keep going. But now they seem to have hit that the injury, the totality of the playoff run has caught them now. And it looks like the Bucks have figured this out. What do you think?
Well, Atlanta doesn't have experience. I mean, that's just what it is, right? And now you're, like you said, we're deep in the playoffs. This is where you need experience. And by the way, look, it was an easy bet, and I took it. Okay, the 8 points in game 2 jumped to 8.5, right? It jumped to 8.5, and you went, why? Why did that go from 8 to 8.5 when Atlanta just beat Milwaukee at home? And I'm going to tell you why. The Bucks sat home for 2 days and read the papers. How great Trae Young is. And, Atlanta's going to do to Milwaukee what they did to Philly. And Drew Holiday got mad. He started picking them up full court when they were up 15. Yeah, I mean, they really stepped on the gas there.
They did a lot of different things, though, like having Lopez step out on him instead of back. So when he came up that road, he stepped out on him, making him come, not have that free little spot that he had for that whole time, which you kept saying over and over. Why? Why do you know where he's going? You know where, and they did it. They did it, and it really shook him up.
It wasn't just a jab, though. right? Because in boxing, you kind of just throw a jab to keep somebody off of you. Like, they punched and meant it. They were up by 15 and just were like, we're going up by 30. We're going up. Like, let them read this tomorrow in Atlanta. No, because we're flying there. Yeah, we're flying there. And I want them to read this because we're a veteran team. And that was embarrassing what happened in the first game. That should have never happened. And you know, we're going to lose to Atlanta. Let's look at our record of losing over the past season. We're supposed to be a veteran team ready to do it. And we do that. Absolutely never again.
Yeah. And then they switch back and go to Atlanta. And me personally, I thought, okay, this is that time where Atlanta does that thing they've done all playoffs so far, where they surprise you. They come up big. Trae's going to have a 50-point game. And then look, he went all the way to the third quarter where he had, 32 points before he takes that step back and hits that the referee's foot and goes down. Then he had 3 points after that. And then that's a close game. I mean, like you guys said, nobody could buy a bucket there towards the end. You know, had he been fully healthy, because he didn't even come back to 8 minutes in the fourth quarter or so before he came back out again. So they missed some time with him. Plus he still didn't do nothing. So he might have had that 50-point game. He might have had that and been able to lift them over. But all that came together and they lost it again. And I'm saying to myself, was that it? Lamar, was that it for them?
Hard to say. I think might be, man, because that injury, he was hobbling around pretty good. I don't know what a day or two of treatment can do to make it feel a bit better to play on. But
they say he wants to come back. He said he's ready. But
I'm pretty sure he's gonna play. I'm pretty sure he's gonna play.
I didn't hear the MRI report.
But I don't know. I don't want to count him out. But then I don't be really trusting the Bucks. All that too. I mean, they should win the series, but I still don't trust them. They don't. Sometimes they get carried away and start hoisting up those threes, and that's when they get in trouble.
They're so inconsistent they've been all year, except for Middleton literally put them on his back in that late fourth quarter, though. And
he was going off. Everything he put up was going.
And he's hitting those shots. He's hitting it. Like Middleton is making his name, and that's what you got to do at this time of the year. Jack, what about Milwaukee?
Well, here's the truth. Milwaukee's always had a problem. Maybe they just figured it out because the one is not Giannis. Sure, maybe he helps sell the league. He's had an MVP. That's fine. It's fantastic. He gets along with everybody, right? He's a good personality in the locker room. They do wrestling moves before game. That's Giannis. But he's not a one. Middleton's a one. Middleton has the ability to absolutely be a one. If Middleton could shoot better, he can get his shot better. And if you let him lead, he needs to be the volume shooter. That's my opinion. Giannis is not a one. Giannis can get his shot whenever, but to me, a one doesn't get locked down by Blake Griffin. I mean, maybe I'm a weird guy, but Blake Griffin has seen his day in the sun, and Blake Griffin absolutely locked Giannis down.
But that's
not a one.
MVP, right?
MVP is such a watered down. It's a regular season MVP. You know, your MVP can also take 4 steps to the side and shoot threes too. So, you know, it's very watered down. It's whatever your cup of tea is. My MVP was not Giannis. My MVP, an MVP to me makes their team better. An MVP to me pushes you into playoffs so you don't have to question. This year's MVP deserved it, which was Jokic. You can't argue with 30, 20, and 10. And I watched the game. It was insane. My MVP last year was Jimmy Butler. That Miami team was super young and they didn't belong anywhere. But every time you needed a shot, Jimmy got it for you. But Jimmy doesn't help sell the league for the next 20 years. So, you know.
True. So do we see Milwaukee getting out of there though? If not today,
I think so.
The next one.
I mean, the truth is it's been fun, Atlanta. It's fun, right? It's been fun. I like what you have to offer. You have a nice young team and you'll sell tickets next year, but it's time for the big boys. It's the veterans. It's the guys who have been there that are angry, that have been tossed out 3 times. And that's the Bucks.
Yeah. I mean, that's I picked them from the start for that reason.
You did.
That is what I figured. And luckily they've gotten that far because I came up bad this last one. I picked Atlanta. I thought they were coming through. I even picked the 2 props where I think I blew all 3 of them. So it was a bad night for me.
Can we talk about Atlanta's prospects to get players?
Yes, please, because that's the other that is the other part of that is they need, to me, they are the team that might need that one more. You know,
Yeah.
I love Collins. Okay, I
He,
think he can be smooth, but isn't he in his fourth year? Is this not his
he a
fourth?
free agent, I believe.
And so it's like he's right at that point right now of taking that next step, or else getting this contract, and just staying who you are, right? When those guys who get that money and then they don't work any harder, or this is where he becomes that star. You know, he's got such a good game. Every time you see him catch that ball and face the basket, you know he's getting ready to do that jumper, that mid range, and he sinks it, and he sinks that all the time. And I'm really starting to come around with that guy, man.
He's a nice player, but he's not a star. He's not a killer. He's not going to, he doesn't even have what Middleton does.
Oh yeah, no,
I heard a rumor, and this is a little bit outside the lines, right? But I heard a rumor that Atlanta for years has had trouble getting players, free agents, to come there because so many NBA players have side chicks that reside in Atlanta.
I knew you were going there.
No, but I wouldn't say it if it didn't yield some merit. Yeah. Because you sit there and you let it marinate and you think about it and you go, well, they haven't had anybody sit Dominique. And you go, oh, well, this guy, then stop it. They haven't. And why haven't they? Atlanta's got nice weather, right? It's
oh yeah,
right.
It's a nice town. But you're right. I mean, if you think of the reputation that Atlanta has as a city itself for being that, forgive me, but the player city, and with the strip clubs and the blah blah blah, so I would figure that if you're married, it might be one of those last places you might want to go. I mean, I'm not sure.
Magic City just didn't start last week. It's been around for a long time. No, but it is a real valid point. Why hasn't anyone gone there? By the way, all these kids that are the Trae Youngs, Kevin Huerters, all these players, the Hunters, they're all drafted. They didn't go there. Nobody's going there.
Yeah. So, well, they've been a pretty down team for a while, so it's kind of hard, I think, anymore. It just seems like guys who are in the top of the game right now and such, they want to go to those teams that have that opportunity right now. Like everything anymore is built for the right now. So you don't have a guy like wanting that money and taking that money, even though the money's virtually almost the same, but you don't have him going to some team like Atlanta, where you go, you know what, I'll go there. Maybe they'll build around me a little bit even, and we can make something there. You just don't see the guy who does that anymore. I mean, I guess Kawhi, you could kind of say is that kind of a guy because he's never really went to a super team when he took off. But for the most part, I think that's why they had trouble. And that's why I say now, will that change now? You players are sitting at home seeing what this team has to offer, and then knowing, like we said, what the city, and I'm not really going all the way to there, what they have to offer, but what the city has to offer itself. Will they be an attractive place for a free agent?
I think the answer is no. I really think that's a thing. I really think it's a thing because otherwise it hasn't gone. It's gone. Look they've had good coaching, right? You've had good coaching. You have had. Well, I mean, who's your only free agent to go there? Paul Millsap, please. Like you have good coaching, you have nice uniforms, you have a great fan base. You can't get a player. You can't get a Tim Hardaway Jr. there. I mean, there is something to that.
Yeah. Since we're talking about free agents, Lamar, Kawhi is able to leave, I believe, this summer. Do you think he will? There's been a little rumblings I've heard that he's not happy. He actually, I guess, said those words that he wasn't happy. Was that just one of those things where you're saying, I'm not happy at the way things went down this year? Or is he not happy and maybe he wants to leave? Do you think he will?
With Kawhi, you never know what he's thinking or what he got going on. I guess he's unhappy with the training staff or something. They didn't say why. But
he's always unhappy with the training staff, isn't it? Wasn't that the same thing in San Antonio? The training staff wasn't good enough. He had to get his own.
Yeah, he had to get his own, and I think that's what happened. I think that's what kind of happened with this knee injury because you didn't hear nothing about it come from the team. Then all of a sudden, bam, Kawhi announced to the team that he's not playing, sprained his knee or whatever. They still don't know what it is. Keep hearing sprained knee. Some people saying ACL. So nobody knows but him probably.
Yeah. What do you
think he
think
returns?
I don't
think he returns.
Would he go to the Lakers, Lamar?
I don't think so.
No, he's an
I
outlier.
don't think so. If he went to the Lakers, he would have did it before he went to the Clippers, I would think. But
I'll give you one team. I'll give you one team that I think he's really starting to look at, and he can still get his minutes managed, and it would make them a front runner back east. And that's Miami.
Oh, Miami.
Miami.
You think he can coexist with Butler, Kawhi, and Butler?
Yeah, because they're the same player. Butler's half crazy.
I don't think. I mean, Pat Riley would have to bend a lot because
Pat Riley's not going to have to do anything because it's going to be Spoelstra's job to manage the minutes. And guess what? When Kawhi's
Pat Riley ain't gonna put up all them demands his uncle gonna make. I know that for a fact. He ain't gonna put.
He put up with LeBron.
But
yeah, that's why you think LeBron left?
That's true too.
That's one reason why he left.
But we know that Riley's going to do something because Riley lives on that. Let's build for that now thing. He doesn't do that. Let's build for the future, which is why he's about ready to toss a hero out because he doesn't play those games. If you're doing that little stuff right now, he ain't got time for it. He's trying to win right now always. So yeah, I agree with Jack that fits into that narrative. I'm just one of those people who believe that Jimmy Butler cannot play with another star. I think Jimmy Butler has to be the man on the team, and then they can build something nice there. I think they can build something nice. And I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe he's got to have the right guy. Maybe it's got to take the right guy to come into to Butler. Somebody he likes, a friend. I don't know, something like that.
I just don't think Jimmy Butler will play with anyone that's not willing to play hard. So that's Karl Anthony Towns. That's D'Angelo Russell. Listen, man, I'm a grown adult. I'm not here to play with you kids. If you're not going to run up and down the court and work as hard as I am, I'm not going to deal with you. Okay, Kawhi Leonard is going to do that. He's going to give you max effort when he's in the game. Marcus Smart would blend well with Jimmy Butler. And that's the other thing too. Something's brewing in Miami. I just want to bring this up real quick because the NBA fined the godfather of basketball a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you guys saw that. Right? Yeah. Nobody finds Pat Riley. The guy who won it with the Lakers, went to New York, made them fantastic, and then went down to Miami. No one finds Pat Riley.
And that comment wasn't that bad. Like
it was nothing.
I know. I was like, why are they finding? So you're right. It's like something, somebody knows something, or why are you doing that?
I'm gonna explain to you what happened. Right? Everybody knows everybody, right? The NBA's got LeBron's number. Pat Riley's got LeBron's number. Everybody's got everybody's number. Okay. Pat Riley mentioned that the key is underneath the doormat. Although it's a rusted key, I leave it there for all my ex-players in case they need me. No, because Pat Riley's a basketball guy. He's a sit down on the couch if you need a conversation. And I'm going to tell you what, and this is just speculation, but I'm speculating that LeBron James, after that loss to Chris Paul in the finals, might have called the only guy that'll give it to him honest in the NBA. And that's Pat Riley. And went, hey, look it. Is it me? Am I declining? Can we sit down and have a conversation? Because Pat Riley doesn't get fined $25K, which is a slap in the wrist for a no comment for nothing. The NBA must have looked at LeBron's Twitter and put it together, and they find Pat Riley and they hit, listen, our cash cow's out in LA, and that's where we want him. That's exactly where we want him. That's exactly where he's going to stay. Because I'm telling you what, we're changing our number back to 6. We're calling Pat Riley. There's something brewing in Miami. Pat Riley doesn't leave in the first round of the playoffs in a sweep ever. Something's going down.
Yeah. Let me get to one more real quick. As far as leaving their team, and it's Dame Lillard. I've heard rumors all the way from going to Miami not Miami, but Philadelphia. Philadelphia seems to be the big one. And at first I was blowing these off kind of because they did just get Chauncey as the coach and stuff. But then I seen somebody, and I don't remember if it was Mark Stein, who said something about it a little bit. And it was somebody that got my ears perked up to the fact that it could possibly be true. So, Lamar, what do you think about Dame leaving? Will he leave Portland? And if so, where's he going to go?
I don't think he's gonna leave. I mean, this stuff is coming from very reliable sources, but I don't think he's gonna leave. If he did leave, I think the Knicks would be in the running. They probably give up everything they had to try to get Lillard out there in New York.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That would be a nice spot for him. Jack, what do you think about that?
Here's my thoughts on that. And I've thought about it. Obviously, I like the Knicks. I'm a Knicks guy, Here's my thoughts on that. In order for Dame Lillard to come to New York, one thing has to happen. Derrick Rose has to go back. And by back, I mean he has to go back to when he didn't want to make a phone call to bring any stars to Chicago. Right? He needs to go back and remember how hard it was. Because if he can go back there, he can relate to what Damian Lillard's been trying to do in Portland the past couple years. Hey, listen, man, I know I was stubborn. I want to do it all myself now then too. But then I bounced around the league. I got beat up a little bit, and now I'm here in New York. Why don't you come here? We've built something great. I'll come off the bench to back you up, mentor you a little bit. Tibbs will get along with you. Let's go. Let's be a team and a family here. If he draws him in like that, Dame Lillard's gone tomorrow. It's gone tomorrow.
Do you think New York's a good spot for him, Lamar? Or is Philadelphia better?
Well, Philadelphia better because they got Embiid there and they got some other pieces and stuff. But New York will be good too. They can make the right trade, keep the right people, bring in some.
Well, let's say for the sake of argument that they get Dame and somehow Ben Simmons finds his way in Portland. Does that make any sense? Does Simmons in Portland make any sense with Bill?
Yeah, with Dame not being there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that don't make no sense to me. But
it's kind of like he would take over the point maybe point forward spot of.
Think you losing. Yeah, you're losing some scoring. I mean, you're gaining defense, but you're losing some guy go out there and get you 50 some nights.
That's true.
Ben Simmons can't shoot.
I don't know if you can find a replacement though for Dame. Can you? I mean, I think you're going to kind of have to get what you can, because I don't think you're going to equal that, and because whatever is equal to him, no one's going to give up. So, but
I mean, Portland's in a reboot now. I mean, they just, they're going to have to live with certain things, right? You've tried it with them for so long. It hasn't worked. You're in a reboot. I mean, a rebuild. You just are.
Okay. So say Dame does go, then is that what would happen? If Dame does decide to leave or says he wants out and they go to trade him, would they start maybe a rebuild sort of? I mean, does that mean all pieces are free? So maybe CJ McCollum,
Well, Stotts is a good coach, and Stotts was fired. Okay, that was Portland letting everybody know, hey, this is a rebuild. And by the way, Chauncey Billups didn't interview to be a coach ever. He wanted to be a general manager. So he's got an ear to the wall upstairs. In my opinion, Portland isn't a complete and total rebuild because they hired a coach who also believes that he has general manager skills. Chauncey Billups is fantastic, and that's where they're headed. I do believe Ben Simmons is on the move. Okay, but I have a trade that helps both franchises. Okay. Ben Simmons is really good at defense, and the team that I'm sending him to, I defend better than every single player on that court. I defend better than, and that's the Sacramento Kings. Okay. The Sacramento Kings. Okay. The first thing we need to do is fire Luke Walton. Nice man, terrible coach. Wants to be everybody's friend. Doesn't work. You got to start yelling at people because they're kids and they want direction, Luke. Okay. Yeah. That's just a fact. So we're going to send Ben Simmons over there, and then we're going to send De'Aaron Fox straight up to Philadelphia, because Philadelphia needs scoring, and Doc Rivers can teach him how to go side to side again like Calipari used to. How do we like that?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I really can. You know why? Because in a way, Sacramento's got nothing to lose. They need something, I think, as well. Like, they put together a team that I think of as like the Magic before the trade deadline. You got a bunch of nice pieces, but ain't none of them doing you any good together right now. So maybe take some of those nice pieces and get you something that works. maybe start working it again. So I could see something like that because that's a place where Simmons could go. He could, it's not a huge market per se, so there's not going to be so much pressure put on him. And he does have skills. We know he has skills. Something happened to him, and believe me, I'm going to call it Philadelphia because it seems like everybody loses something up here when they go to Philadelphia, and then they find it again once they leave. So I'm sure Jack will find his senses once he's out of there too. But
every one of here's my only, and I would send him to Sacramento for that reason, and I do believe that it helps Marvin Bagley's career. We talked about DeAndre Ayton. Let's not forget Marvin Bagley has a lineage that's more athletic than Zion Williamson's. Okay, he does. He's an absolute freak athlete. It went to Duke. He's a smart guy. De'Aaron Fox wants to jack threes. How about we bring Ben Simmons in there, and maybe Marvin Bagley's ceiling could be Joel Embiid? I don't know, but the problem is I should know by now because the guy should be touching the ball 20 times a game. If you want a big guy to rebound, let him touch it on the offensive end. He's a left-hander who could shoot threes, and he's 6'11". I mean,
speaking of people though that you just brought up that wanted to leave, didn't Williamson want out of New Orleans too? Wasn't there some in there from his people? And he's about at the end of his deal too, isn't he?
Is Williamson?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's still on his rookie deal. It just looks bad.
Maybe one or so.
It just looks bad. Why do you want out of there? Because you couldn't take it from Stan Van Gundy?
Yeah.
Is that why he went out of there?
And you're getting rid of him anyway. So I think there's more to it. I think it's the whole, I want to be in New York, LA, put me someplace where I can make some bigger money off the court. But I don't know if it'll happen because New Orleans has been through this. They keep losing their big stars, and I don't know if they want to keep going down that route. So I'm sure they have these kind of plans already set up inside of them. But let's move on from the NBA real quick, guys. Let's get into something that's been as crazy as I've ever seen anything. And I'm not a big baseball person at all. But when you see a guy drop his pants on TV, there's something going on. Lamar, you're our baseball guy, man. Let me start off with you. What is going on in baseball?
I think it's a complete joke. Pitchers been using stuff to grip the ball for years, ever since I was a kid. Now all of a sudden they want to, in the middle of the season, they want to change it and make it a rule. If you was going to do that, do it in the offseason. When pitchers got enough time to adapt. Now you got pitchers out here scrambling and don't know what to do, getting mad, tossing their hat down, throwing their belt on the ground, pulling their pants down. It's just a complete joke, man. They've been doing this stuff for years, so why change it now? Let the game be.
Jack, can we have people pulling their pants down on ESPN?
We can't, but but you know what though? You guys are lucky I'm here because I'm gonna fix baseball for you. Ready? Here's what we're gonna.
Here we go.
No, I am. I'm here to fix it. All right. I don't want. Listen. Problem identifiers don't get paid. Problem solvers do, and I'm gonna solve baseball for you. Right? Here's the first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Okay.
Oh,
we do that. No, we're doing that because
I like it.
Yeah, good. We're putting Pete Rose. We're putting Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, and what that does, right? So that gets rid of 60% of the complaints in baseball. Okay, Pete Rose goes to the Hall of Fame. Okay, the other 40% of the problem, which you can argue is 100% of the problem, is baseball. Major League Baseball doesn't abide by their own rules. They actually cheat, and I'm gonna explain to you why. Justin Verlander, right? Pretty good pitcher. He made an argument for steroids a while back. He said, if you're going to argue for these guys on steroids and these guys, us pitchers with junk on our hands and all these other things. First of all, he goes, some of the stadiums get really hot, which we're approaching that. And he goes, it's almost impossible to even touch the ball without it falling out of your hands. Second of all, Major League Baseball bought Rawlings a couple years ago. I don't know if anybody knows that, but he pointed it out. And he goes, since they bought Rawlings, he goes, I will tell you that I've given up more home runs than I have in my whole entire career. So as long as we're talking about me trying to get a competitive advantage, I will tell you that ball is flying off the bat in the smallest stadiums that we've ever seen. So how about baseball just be honest, right? Don't ever tell me that Pete Rose shouldn't be in the game and Alex Cora can. Let's be honest with the fans. Don't have people start unzippering their pants. Listen, the baseball is Williamsport, Pennsylvania. It's little league. It's farm teams. It's family. It's friends going to the ballpark, right? It's the 7th inning stretch. It's peanuts and Cracker Jacks. That's what it is. And you're ruining it.
That's
because
right.
you
Keep the
won't make a
sporting goods
demonstrative
section to yourself, right?
you won't make a demonstrative decision about anything.
There, some of the issues I'm with Lamar in a little bit is because of the fact that it's been going on so long, but also like I was seeing today, the guy who got thrown out last night of the ball game, the first pitcher, they found it on the glove, and what they were explaining though was that they can have it on their arm. Okay, so if he had the pine tar on his arm, that was okay. But then you just brought up the fact that it's 108 degrees. So they're sweating like dogs. So this stuff is running from his arm into his mitt. Now, that could be on purpose. I don't know. I haven't done it. Don't have any ideas. But when you get into things like that, there are other things which they allow you to do, which is coming into play against this. So they're kind of having some sort of contradictive rules going on, and I think that's where you're seeing some of these players. I think they've had enough of it. And what can you do as a player but show everybody the sporting goods section while you're in front of the whole crowd?
There's respect for the game too. Like outfielders now, by the way, outfielders go out to the outfield and they look in their glove and there's a little card there for themselves. There's a little card and it says what the batter hits the ball best spot to in your outfield. Like, do we even have to? Baseball has always been a mental game. It's a longevity. You lose the game in the 8th because you were thinking about something else, right? And the only reason why you've gotten so much better over the years is because you've overcome mental lapses, right? You didn't become, the lady or gentleman picking dandelions in the outfield because you got bored and you didn't watch the pitch counts, okay? It's always been a mundane, long, hot summer sport. Okay.
Sure.
And what we've done is we've made it easy for athletes, higher scores, more revenue. And a lot of these sports have done this, but we're all doing it at the expense of the game.
Yeah. But isn't it because, do you not think though that it's been because the game itself of baseball has declined? And so therefore, like they're trying to do certain things to get them back. Like the balls maybe flying out of the parks, when that whole Barry Bonds and all that was going on, it brought everybody out there. Remember 400 people in the water to catch the ball. And so it seems to me though that maybe they're trying all these things. And like you said, they're striking out at what they're trying, but maybe it's just that they're trying to save the game. I don't know. Because if you think about it, I think I heard you somewhere else though say something about minor league ball and how different it is, because minor league baseball is so it's more fun to go to. It's more fun to go to a minor league game. You have a better time. They give you fireworks. You get to run the bases. You get, and you go to a major league game and you get this.
Yeah, Barry Bonds is an outlier. Barry Bonds is related to Willie Mays. How many Willie Mays' relatives you got running around out there? Right. And a lot of these guys came up and it was much easier than their parents. It just was. It was much easier, or it's been much easier for them. The Guerreros, the fielders, it's been much easier, and since you made it easier, you diminish their skill level. They don't have to do as much. They don't have to work as hard. Obviously if the ball's jumping off my bat, I don't have to be in the gym. Maybe I could take a few days off. And guess what? The speculation also has been when we head to the playoffs, the balls that jump off your bat all of a sudden disappear. Yeah. Right. And the batters know it and the pitchers know it. So if you're cheating the game, Major League Baseball, then you're cheating everybody. I don't want to hear the fact that a 225 all-time hitter went from averaging 21 home runs a game to 60 in Sammy Sosa, and you didn't know anything about it. I don't want to hear that because it's not the truth.
Right. Lamar, you're our baseball man. What do you think the state of baseball is? Are you there?
Pretty bad right now.
Oh, I think we lost him. I'm just saying that normally You see such a big fan, but it just seems like you've lost it. The most highlights that I see of baseball anymore are the fights in the stand, because that seems to be like the big thing in baseball now, are these fights that go on in the stands. And unfortunately, those are the highlights that I get nowadays from baseball more than anything, especially on social media or what. So it just seems like it's headed in that direction, and they're trying, and I think they're failing, like you said. So they really need to do something, and what, I have no idea, but I've been a little entertained anyway at what's been going on. So we'll put it at that. But now let's jump to our third sport of the day, because we got to talk about Tom Brady. So much has been going on with Tom Brady right now. The guy, if anything, he has become more entertaining since he's left New England than he was the entire time he was at New England. He's got the golf match, which he's now on Twitter constantly talking smack to Rodgers. And it's not just smack like I'm going to beat you on the golf course. It's things like, are you going to be able to make the decision on your own? Referring to that old field goal that got kicked in the last game and didn't give him a chance to come out. I mean, then they hit Brady back with some deflated ball stuff. So, it's getting really chippy there. But also, Tom Brady has been in the news lately, though, for his comment. Jack, why don't you tell us a little bit about that comment Tom Brady made?
All right, so he was on the HBO show, I believe it's hosted by LeBron James, called Barbershop. Right. And in the episode, he was talking about his free agency, and towards the end of it, there were a couple teams still interested. The one team pulled out because they were sticking with their quarterback or who they thought was best. And Tom Brady's comments was on the phone, to whomever. We don't know who he was on the phone with, but was oh, you're gonna stick with that mother effer.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody thinks it's San Francisco's Jimmy Garoppolo.
That's right, because we don't know, right? He never said who it was. We don't know. Nobody's come right out and said it, right? So now we've just left with that speculation. Let me hit you with something. Did he really mean anybody?
Yeah.
Or is he just messing with everybody?
I don't think he's messing with everybody because when it's competition and stuff like that, he's got a name. Your greatest competitors of all time made up stories in their head so they'd compete harder. Okay, and Tom Brady is no different than those people. For me, you don't talk like that to Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch. You don't know them well enough, right? You don't talk like that to John Gruden or any of the Chargers play. The Chargers were still they were playing in a soccer field still, right? Tom Brady wasn't going.
You don't think the Raiders though? Because I've heard a lot of talk that could have been the Raiders.
I do. I did. I heard that it could have been the Raiders, but I don't believe he was talking that way to Gruden. I don't think he was talking that way to Mike Mayock.
Let's go to our Raider guy, Lamar. Was he talking about the Raiders when he said that?
I don't think so. I mean, Derek Carr having a bad year last year or year before that, so I don't understand why he would talk about them. Who knows who he's talking about? I don't think it was the Raiders. Everybody gonna say it's the Raiders because that's the popular thing to say. So,
well, wasn't it something like it was just a couple of teams that he was really talking to, and the Raiders were one of them? And then Jack, what was that other team that you just said?
Well, it was the Raiders. It was the Chargers. It was the speculation of him going home to San Francisco and him being a 49er. That was on the table.
And then an old coach of his, correct?
Yeah, this is who I think it was. I think it was the Tennessee Titans. Because look at, you don't talk to a Gruden that way or a Shanahan or whomever you were talking to. You don't do it. Okay. But you do talk to an old friend that way. A guy you got a ring or two, guy you shared the locker room.
That's true.
And by the way, a guy that I have an absolutely monster record against in Ryan Tannehill. You're going to stick with a Texas A&M wide receiver who became a quarterback when he hit the league? Okay, that's cool. I'm going to go talk to Bruce. And oh, by the way, maybe I'll see you down the line. I hope your guy makes it.
Right. I mean, I love it. I think, I don't know who it is. That one right there makes the most sense to me. But I love it because Tom Brady plays the best hit. He's in everybody's head, though. He rents spot in everybody's head in the NFL right now, and he's loving every minute of it. And he's another one of those guys that is growing on me since he's came to Tampa Bay, and I'm becoming a big Tom Brady fan just for his entertainment. Come on, the getting drunk on the float when he came off and he couldn't even walk after the Super Bowl. That stuff was great, and you would have never seen that in New England. Never. He would have never came off that float in New England like that.
Well, how about this? How about the very fact that I heard it was a week before the Super Bowl, he asked Giselle and the kids to leave. He turned the house into a war room. Listen, I know, honey. I know you're a supermodel. I love you and the family and the kids and all that. So he was calling teammates at 5 a.m., barking at them. We're going to win the Super Bowl. And this is why. And he turned the whole house into a war room.
Mm-hmm. I could see that for sure. He's that type of guy. He's Chris Paul in the NFL. I mean, he's literally that kind of a guy. It was obvious when Tampa took that next step just because they got him. I mean, he has proven that it was him and not Belichick, in my opinion. Now I know people will get on me, and if Matt was here, he'd probably be all over me right now. But to me, he proved that it was him, and that he, for whatever reason, that tenacity, that drive that he has, that keeps you up like that, where you are pounding no matter what. Because I'm sure there were some guys in that week who wanted to be excited and wanted to do the Super Bowl party thing. And I'm sure he was the one keeping them saying, no, come, look, right here. This is what you want to win this, but look, okay, got a hands full of them. You want to win one of these, you do this. So, yeah, something about that guy. I don't know. Now, it all goes south if he wins like 6 games this year, though, right? then it's like,
that'll never because what he's doing is he's out to break his own records. Tom Brady's going to throw more. He's going to throw over his age in touchdowns this year.
He has the team, doesn't he?
Well, he has the team, but now he's got an off season. And some of the stuff that he had to do on the fly last year, he won't have to this year. He knows where players need to be, that he knows where they will be. And he has no competition once again in his division. None.
Yeah.
No. What? Carolina?
Yeah.
Jameis Winston?
I don't want to do that to him, but FSU. Anyway, so we won't go there. But so that's Tom Brady. That's the NFL. Jack, you have your fantasy show that you do. I want to give that a shout out right now. Shot at Jack. Catch it on the YouTube channel. Is that?
It's Shot at Jack Sports. Jack Neary. Check me out on YouTube. Check me out on Twitter. Check me out on the everydayfan.com. I write content there, and all my stuff can be found there as well.
All right.
I'm happy to be here.
And Lamar, you do just about anything and everything. Are you ready, by the way, for this Olympic and the Olympic basketball and such?
Yeah, I'm ready. I've been watching old Olympic games and old track and field events for the Olympics.
By the way, real quick,
I watch a lot of old stuff.
Are they going to win the gold? The team they got's a little shaky to me. Are they going to win the gold?
I think so.
Huh? Because there's some tough teams. I mean, Serbia.
I gotta look at the other teams first. I want to see the roster of some other teams though, before I make sure if it's a sure thing or not.
Check out that roster from Serbia. That's going to be the team I'm taking right now. I'm telling you right now. Jokic ain't showing up until the Olympics itself. He's not playing in the qualifying or anything, but he's wanting to rest, and I think that's going to be the difference. They're going to make a big run in these Olympics. So, guys, I want to thank you guys, though, for coming. I want to give you guys this last shots, though. Jack, you got anything you want to say? Lamar, go ahead, man. Lamar, hit us with your last shot, Lamar.
I hope the Suns close it out tonight.
Got the Suns for tonight, getting it closed out. First NBA run since what, like 90 something since they've been there? 93, that's right, since they've been there. That'll be good for the city of Phoenix. I've always liked it. I've always been okay with the city of Phoenix, the fans, the team there like that. Jack, you got something last for us?
Suns by 10 tonight. Don't be shy with your money.
Suns by 10. Woo, man. So you're not even giving the Clippers nothing. Paul George is just fading away tonight, huh?
No, they'll stay close with them, and then all of a sudden you'll see around 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and that's when it shows. That's when your heart shows whether you want to stick around or whether you don't, and that's when Phoenix steps on the gas pedal, and we get it to around 12, 13, and we end up at 10. Point spread 6. Don't be shy.
Gotcha. For me, my last word is going to be on the Orlando Magic and Penny Hardaway. The word came out that they've had some interviews, talks with him. Penny himself came out and said he'd like to stay, or he loves Memphis. He's got something he's building. He wants to finish it. Everything you want to say if you're a coach of a college team, because if you say anything different than that, then college guys will eat you alive. So I appreciate him saying that. I understand that, but it is the NBA. It is the Orlando Magic, the team that he dawned on, the fans that love him. I think the NBA needs a coach like Penny Hardaway to come in, because we're going into a new era with these Trae Young, with all of the young guys that are out there right now coming up. The NBA is in good shape, but they need coaches. Right now, I'm saying there's a lack of good coaches for the young talent. He would be the best for the NBA. He would be the best for the Orlando Magic. He'll fill those seats. Orlando Weltman, get it done. Sign him. Penny, come home. That's my last word. Okay, guys. I thank you guys for doing this again. We will get together next week as we always do. Please go check out theeverydayfan.com. Everybody here, we all have content on it. Check out our YouTube channel. Go see the Shot of Jack YouTube channel. We got content everywhere, everybody. So please come and check us out. And we will see you guys all next week. Guys, thanks.
Thank you so much.